Today's one of those days where we're gonna do something different. It's fall time. I've been hammering on the shallow fish. I've been focusing on shallow, and in the fall time, there's a couple different groups of fish. A lot of them go shallow in the grass and in the backs of the creeks and backs of these pockets, but there's also some fish that go out deeper. That's what we're going to focus on today. We're gonna get out there deeper. We're gonna get off the bank. I didn't bring a frog rod today. I didn't bring my punching rod. I didn't bring the standard shallow water stuff. We're gonna idle around, try to find some fish out off the bank, out deep. Some of those fish that are relating to shad and brush piles and stuff. And I brought a different arsenal today. Some of the same stuff that I would bring all the time, but kind of mixing in a spoon. Got a flutter spoon in there. Got a 1/2 ounce. This is a Cumberland Pro pig jig. Got the jerkbait here. Just got the underspin. Like I said, some of this stuff is standard stuff, but it's also transfers over to this offshore stuff. Just a big worm. Got the underspin there. Chatterbait. You know, sometimes the chatterbait, those schooling fish like a chatterbait. And we're gonna get finessey on them a little bit. I've got the spinning rod here. I'm gonna rig up a drop shot right now. I've got just this little destroyer on there, but maybe a Ned rig on the other stuff that I've got over there. I've got a deep diving crankbait, I got a tube. We're gonna try to stay off the bank. I don't have a lot of time, which is typical. I got about 4 hours, and 4 hours isn't a lot of time to get out there and start scanning and idling around. But hopefully we're gonna try to find something. I talked to Ron, Uncle Ron. He's out there. He said there are some fish out there deep, so that gives me some confidence that we're going to be able to stumble across something, dump the boat in the water, and let's see what happens. Pulling out of the marina here, first thing I noticed is the water is 66 degrees, which is a lot warmer than some of the other lakes in this area. I've been seeing like low 60s in most places, so mid 60s, a little bit different, but as we get away from the marina, I'm sure it's going to drop a little bit. We're going to do a lot of idling. Like I said, we've got 3.5 hours now. By the time I launched the boat, it took about 15-20 minutes to get everything ready. But we're going to be scanning. We're going to be doing just scanning some points. We're going to start on some of these main lake points. There's some grass in this lake, so a lot of times the grass does become a player in the fall. Any time of the year, the fish are going to gravitate towards the grass, but we got some shad right here. Not really seeing, there's a couple small fish related to that. Nothing I want to stop on. I want to spend about an hour or so idling before I actually stop and fish. It's hard to do, but you got to stay disciplined. And if I see something that looks good, we're definitely going to stop and kick a few casts at it.
Got him, drop shot. Saw that fish grab it. Saw that fish grab it. It was nice, that was cool. Fish on the graph, threw it out there, watched him swim over and grab it. Not the biggest fish in the lake, but man, look at that, right in the snooter. There we go. Is it? Sounds like a real over one. Oh yeah, nice. Do an Uncle Ron video.
That's what you call a good friend right here, man. Sitting over here watching Uncle Ron spank him, and he feels sorry for me. He said he's gonna give me an A-rig. That's what they're biting on.
I can't do that to a buddy. I gotta let you catch them. They're eating it.
Okay, we're gonna try it. See if it. I've only made about 20 casts, but we're gonna try it.
There you go. That's what we're looking for. You got bait. You got a big old bunch of group of bass, like hitting them from the bottom. And way out there though. See if we can come up with something on this cast. Pretty close to him. They're moving right towards the boat. Fast. Jesus. Stop. Slow down. There he is. Got him. It's the fish coming up to the top. Decent fish. Got both of those swim baits. That was cool. So I saw that group of shad on the graph, and there was definitely a wad of probably like 20 bass below him, just chasing him around. Threw that past him, just reeling it through him. That's what happens. That's fun. Thanks to Ron, man, because they weren't hitting the underspin. Definitely on the A-rig. Taliar, man, they always show a preference for one over the other. Okay, got that. It's fun. I like it because he's not hooked on the outside. He just grabbed him both of them little minnows. Okay, shout out to Uncle Ron for putting us on a few fish. We're gonna move and try to locate some fish of our own. There's still fish in the area. This may be a spot we come back to right before it gets dark, but they've kind of shut off. You know, had a few follow the drop shot down and look at the A-rig, but a lot of pinging going on, so we're gonna move on and try to find some fresh fish. Good group of fish right here. Turn this trolling on a little bit. Good group of fish. Let's see what happens. It's kind of a long cast. Okay, there's my A-rig. A-rig's falling right down into that mess. Got one coming over to check it out. It's following it. Let it go. I gotta stand up. They're everywhere down there. That one's been following it the whole time. There he is. Got him that time. See him on the graph? There's two. There's two coming up. Well, one tried to grab it. I got one, but the other one tried to grab it. I thought I was going to get double. That was like a little better fish. Oh yeah, that's a keeper. It's a good fish. That's a good fish. Nice fish. Got to really slow roll that bait through them. And they're following it. That fish followed it for quite a while, and then when it got into a group of like 5 or 6 fish, he decided to grab it. But nice chunky fish, man. Nice chunky fish. Let's let him go. Yeah, there's my A-rig. Just fell right through those fish. Man, let it go. That's what they've been doing. But when I crawl it on the bottom, like there's some fish right on the bottom right there. That's what I'm looking for right there, those fish. There he is. Right on the bottom. That's what they're wanting, man. The suspended fish won't hardly hit it, but these ones that are on the bottom will definitely grab it. But they're fun. Not gonna win a tournament doing this, but it is definitely a good time. There we go. Okay, folks, so what we got here, I just got a Flash Mob Junior with the spinner blades on it, and just a little small Kitech with some light heads, like 1/8 ounce or something heads. And I'm throwing this on my flipping stick, actually. It's a 7'3", medium heavy, but it's got a lot of tip, and that's important. You want a lot of tip so the fish can like suck that bait in. You don't pull it away from them. If you got too stiff of a rod, it's not going to work. You're going to lose a lot of fish. And I'm just throwing it out there really slow, 15-pound fluorocarbon, and just reeling it really slow. The suspended fish won't bite it, but the ones that are on the bottom underneath the bait, that's the ones that are actually biting this and showing me some love. But this is an early fall bait, or a late fall bait, early winter bait. It goes all the way through the winter, and it's kind of happens sooner than most people get on it. And that's the whole key. Get out there before everybody's doing it, and these fish are still kind of stupid to it. You can catch them. It's a lot of fun though. A lot of fun. Okay, we got a little bit of bait in this area. We got channel swing, creek channel coming in right here. You can see on the map this little channel swing. This is kind of stuff I'm going to be looking for today. I mean, we're out here deep. It's 36 feet of water, but this thermocline breaks up in the fall, and that's what makes the fish go deep. You know, when in the summertime you got a thermocline, they can only go so deep. However deep the thermocline is, that's about where their bottom range is going to be. But in the fall, you get some cold fronts, and the thermocline starts breaking up, and I don't really see much of a thermocline here. So that means the fish can be anywhere. They can be 0 to the bottom of the lake. So you've got to really be open-minded and bounce around, try different stuff. Missed. God. Oh, he came up and grabbed it. That was awesome. That fish came up off the bottom and grabbed that. That was crazy. Some of them are just so aggressive. I mean, I had one thump it, I pulled it away from it. It wasn't the same fish, but I just changed the angle and kind of caused a little action. That A-rig kind of fluttered, and that one shot up off the bottom and just completely smashed it. Got him that time. Came back and hit that thing 3 times. 3 times. So if you set the hook and you miss it, let it fall straight down to the bottom. That's exactly what I did there. And one bumped it, and then another one bumped it. I still haven't got a double. I'm surprised. There's enough down there to do a double. Get a double, they're everywhere. There we go. It's a pretty chunky little fish. Fat sucker. That was a really cool bite. Fish slammed it. I set, missed him. Let it drop, started reeling, he hit it again, he missed it, and I kept on reeling and he loaded up on it. And one tip I'll tell you is if you do get a bite and you miss them, let it fall back to the bottom and start your retrieve over. It's my A-rig falling right into a group of fish right there. It's the A-rig. What we're doing, okay, you can see these fish right here. My A-rig is right here. There's a hard spot. I'm just slow rolling it right up this little ridge. And these are the fish that I'm targeting, but you got to throw past them. These fish right here I can't get. It's these ones that are related to the bottom. You got to throw past them and then slow roll it right into them or they won't bite. There he is. Fish is in 26 feet of water on the bottom.
I'll show you what we're looking at here on the live scope. Got some bait down there. You can just see these bass just kind of scattered all along here. We're just throwing that A-rig out there, and I will throw a drop shot out there too a little bit. Just slow rolling it through these fish, and they've been wanting it when it's coming back up towards the boat. See if I can pan around this area. There's a couple right there. Where are they at? They're moving around a lot. There's some right here on the bottom. It's moving around. There we go. They're just kind of scattered everywhere, but they're moving. They're moving fast, so it's making it difficult.
Let that thing fall and he slammed it. There we go. Racking them up. It's coming through that group of fish and they just let it go and then I let it fall. Next thing you know, my rod just loaded up. It's fun. Following it down. He's coming after it. Come on, get you some. Don't stop. And just followed it all the way down to the bottom and then just turned away. Got some more kind of checking it out though. There he is. Man, it never gets old. It seems like until just about 10 minutes ago, I couldn't get anything suspended, and the last couple ones I've caught have been suspended. It's like it's all been crawling it along the bottom. Yeah. For me. I guess you got on them.
You go through a spurt, you catch 5 or 6 real quick, and then they would shift on you a little bit.
Yeah.
You had to, I don't know, a little finicky, but there's a bunch of them over there.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 little groups. You just keep kind of wandering around and picking on 1 or 2, and then you pick on 1 or 2.
But they ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean my trail is like a big, just a big circle. It's fun though.
I'm gonna head in, bud.
Okay. Thanks for the A-rig.
Hey, no problem.
Made my day. There he is. Coming down that bank. That never gets old. That never gets old.
A couple things I'll share with you real quick before we wrap this video up. These fish are all coming out deep. Most of the time my boat has been in like 26 to 30 foot of water, but they're still down deep. The thermocline's gone, so those fish like to get deep this time of the year. And a soft rod is key. 7.3, 7.4, 7.6, something like that. We're just gonna make sure that it has some nice tip. And one thing I like to do when I'm fishing for these smaller fish is use a light wire jig head. And that's where that soft rod tip comes into play. You know, you don't really have to hammer on them. They bite it pretty good. You just kind of pull into them. And as long as you take it easy on them, you're not going to bend that hook out. Now, if you're in a lake that you're catching 4 and 5 pounders, you might want to jump up to more of a medium wire. But for those 1.5 to 3 pound fish, there's nothing to worry about when you've got that lighter wire hook. You're going to get that hook in the fish a whole lot easier. It doesn't take near as much pressure, and you're going to catch more fish.
There he is. There he is. Right underneath the boat. He's coming up. Fish. All right, it's fun, man. Absolute blast. Go, nothing like an early season A-rig bite, man. It is a lot of fun. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you appreciate the content, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys coming along with me for a little offshore adventure. It's been a while since I've done this. You know, I've been kind of hammering the grass with the frog and the punch rod and that kind of stuff, and it felt good to get out here off the bank and just focus on these pelagic fish that are roaming around chasing bait. A-rig is the deal. It's great right now. Get out there before everybody's doing it. It's a lot of fun. Until next time.
Love it or hate it, the Alabama rig is one of the best ways to catch those schooling fish in the late fall, winter, and early spring. It's kind of controversial. Some people don't care for it. Others use it all the time. I personally put it away and bring it back out during the winter. Once the water temperatures get down in the 60s, that's when I start getting on the Alabama rig bite. And I don't fish it all the time. I fish it a little bit here and a little bit there, and to be quite honest with you, I try to catch them on other things. But on this certain day, they just wanted the A-rig. Thank God for Ron, because Ron bailed me out. I didn't even bring an A-rig this day. I was planning on catching them on other things, and he was killing them on that A-rig as I was watching, so he gave me one. He felt sorry for me, but that's what good friends do. Let's talk a little bit about the A-rig. Some of the equipment and things that you need to consider when you're fishing an A-rig. First of all, we were throwing the Flash Mob Junior. Super common, pretty durable. It's you can find it just about anywhere. That's what I like about this. It's affordable. It's about $13 price point with the blades on there, 5 arms, and the components are decent. I mean, I would say if you're fishing for really big fish, there's definitely some better A-rigs out there, but for just your standard fishing, if you're just going to tangle with an occasional 4-pounder, but a lot of times your fish are just schoolers that are 2 to 3 pounds, I haven't really had any problem with this. Check your local regulations on how many hooks you can have on the A-rig. Each state is a little bit different. Southern Illinois, it's 2 hooks, but you can have 3 baits. You could have just baits up here, but just the 2 hooks on the bottom. Some of the lakes over there, like Egypt, Kincaid, there's a couple other ones over there. You can fish the 5 rig. Each state is different. Missouri allows 3. Kentucky, I believe, is 5, but I don't know. Just check the regulations and make sure you're not doing anything illegal. The arms on this A-rig, it's kind of critical. I like to get them as close as I can together to get that compact ball of shad look. Get them as close as you can together without them tangling up. If you're getting all these other, if you're getting one bait going into the other bait, you might want to spread them apart, but I definitely don't want to open them up too far. It gives it that compact presentation. It helps it cast better, doesn't catch as much wind, and I think it just draws the fish in. It's like a nice little compact group of shad swimming around, and it draws your bass in there a little bit better. A lot of times the bass are going to target these bottom 2 baits or this middle arm that's a little bit longer. Something you can do is put a little bit bigger bait on here just to draw them in and maybe hit this tail with chartreuse. Sometimes it doesn't matter, but sometimes it can make a difference, and you can experiment around with different color swim baits and stuff. The only one I change is usually this middle one. I might make this middle one a little bit bigger and maybe a slightly different color until you get dialed in on what they want to bite on. As far as equipment, a long rod is key. I was throwing like a 7'3". It was my flipping stick. I was unprepared, but my normal A-rig rod is a 7'4" or 7'6". Some people will throw, you know, a 7'11", a long rod, bomb casting that out. If you're fishing around cover like docks and laydowns and stuff, the smaller rod is going to be better for accurate casts. That 7'4" is kind of a multi-purpose. You want something that's medium, but medium heavy to heavy with a soft tip. You want a nice soft tip. It's going to help you cast the bait out there further, and it's going to let the fish load up. That's one key thing about the A-rig, is you got to allow the fish to load up on it. So when you're casting out and you're reeling it in, you feel them hit, don't set the hook, you're going to pull it away from them. Just keep reeling. They're going to load up. When you feel them really got it, then you can kind of sweep set into them. But 9 times out of 10, they really hook themselves. When they're hitting it right, when they're getting it and they're committing to it, you really don't hardly have to set the hook. You just kind of keep reeling and pulling into them. It's pretty straightforward. 17-pound test, fluorocarbon, something I learned from Ron. Ron's really good at the A-rig. I've taken a lot of tips from him. He swears by 17-pound fluorocarbon. I fish it with 50-pound braid and the 17-pound fluorocarbon, and I really think you get more bites on the fluorocarbon, but there's a lot of people that like the braid. One advantage of the braid is when you do get hung up in something like a brush pile or on the bottom, you can straighten these hooks out with the braid. 17-pound, you can usually straighten them out too, but 50-pound braid, you're definitely going to straighten these hooks out and you're going to get your A-rig back, because these things are pretty pricey. I mean, you're looking at $25 worth of stuff here once you get it all rigged up, maybe even more. It just depends on what you're putting on them. The swim baits, I really like these smaller swim baits, something that's like a 3.5-inch swim bait. And light jig head, something I learned from Ron is if you can fish an 1/8 ounce or a 16th ounce jig head and fish it super, super slow, that is really key. The slower you can fish the A-rig, most of the time, the more bites you're gonna get. If you've got a heavier jig head, yeah, it's gonna get down there faster, but you're gonna get hung up. To reel it slow enough to get the fish interested, you're gonna end up getting hung up a lot more. So these 16th ounce heads are the way to go. You can fish these at a lot of different depths. I mean, you can fish this down in 26, 27 foot of water, which is what I was doing today. You just gotta let it sink, and it sinks pretty fast actually. And you can just creep it along the bottom. A lot of times those fish will be, you'll see bait balls, and that's another thing that you gotta do is you gotta idle around, you gotta find the bait. But you'll see the bait balls, but you won't see any fish in them. They'll be on the bottom underneath the bait balls, and they're hard to pick up. But if you take this A-rig and throw it out and slow roll it along the bottom underneath those shad, you're gonna pick up some bites, because there's typically bass around, even though you don't see them relating to those shad. They're typically down there somewhere. Keep the color simple, just something shad. Sight flashes are really good color. Pearl blue, that type of color, some grays, some translucent colors. As far as the spinners, I throw the spinners all the time, but I do know sometimes a straight rig without spinners can be a key. This is going to produce a lot of flash. Maybe on an overcast day, you might want to mix it up. You might want to try it. I don't know. I keep it simple. Like I said, I don't throw this a whole lot, but I keep it simple. I don't deviate too much from just the Flash Mob Junior. It seems to always work for me. Another thing that's key with these lighter jig heads is like a 2/0 hook. You want to keep it around a 2/0 hook with these small swim baits. You don't want to overpower the swim bait. You don't want that hook to get too far back into the tail section. It's going to limit the action of the swim bait. If you're targeting really big fish, you may want to bump up to like a 3.8 or even a 4.8 Kitech. If you're down in these tailwater areas, you know, places with a lot of current, you're definitely going to have to bump up your jig heads. You might throw like a 3/16 or a 1/4 ounce jig head, maybe even heavier depending on the amount of current. But for most situations, on just your standard body of water that doesn't have any kind of current flowing in it, 16th ounce, maybe an 1/8 ounce, if you need to work it a little bit faster and get it down there deeper faster.